Welcome to the Big Blue Radio Show, coming to you on Tulsa Community College's online radio station, The Grid, and on the Creativity Channel. I'm Greg Stone, Provost of TCC's Metro Campus.
And I'm Lee Goodson, President of Tulsa Community College. Growing numbers of high school students across the country are finishing their high school coursework at the same time they're beginning their college careers. And the same is true here in Tulsa.
Today, Professor Mary Cantrell and Lissa Steadley, Director of Concurrent Enrollment Programs, will talk about this growing trend here on the Big Blue Radio Show.
Well, Mary Cantrell and Lissa Steadley, thank you for joining us here on the Big Blue Radio Show, and we're here to talk about concurrent enrollment. So can you tell us just a little bit for students or parents who may not know what concurrent enrollment is? What is it?
That's a great question. We use the term concurrent enrollment and the term dual credit kind of interchangeably here in Oklahoma.
I see.
And so sometimes people will say, well, I want to know about dual credit, or I want to know about concurrent enrollment. Basically what we mean, either term, is college classes for high school students. So while a student is in high school, they are also concurrently enrolled in college classes.
And do those classes count for both?
That's what the term dual credit comes in for.
Okay.
Oklahoma is a dual credit state, which means every college class will be transcripted onto a high school transcript for graduation credit.
So if a student is interested in dual enrollment or concurrent, dual credit or concurrent enrollment, what are the requirements for those students? Can any high school do it, or are there certain minimum requirements with GPA or other things that students ought to know about, or that parents maybe need to know about?
High school students can start in concurrent enrollment the summer after their sophomore year. So you're considered a junior because it's for juniors and seniors. So you're actually considered a junior the summer after you complete your sophomore year. So you have a possibility of 6 semesters, and we do have college admissions, and then we have eligibility requirements. Admissions is based off of your high school GPA or your ACT composite score, and then placement in a course is based off of the cut scores on your ACT.
And Mary, who's ideal for this kind of a program?
Yeah, I would say that we'd love for as many high school students as are interested to take a college class, a TCC class, while they're in high school, and to graduate with as many credits as they can earn. But it does require a level of motivation among the students who are taking the class, and I think they have to have the time, and more importantly, the time management skills. High school students are involved in a lot of extracurricular activities. They may be working part-time. They probably have a exciting social life, but they really have to learn to manage their time effectively to do the work that the college class requires. I'd say they also need to be pretty independent and mature. In college we don't have parent-teacher conferences, so the student really needs to advocate for him or herself in the college class with the professor, be able to talk to the professor if they have questions, etc. But any student who wants to get a little taste of what the college life is going to be like, what the expectations are going to be, and how they're different from high school, it's an ideal program for that student. I don't know about you guys, but my hardest year in college was my first year, because there was just so much. Academically it was challenging, but also just adjusting to the college environment, the different expectations. So this is a great way for a student to get that experience, that college experience, in a pretty safe environment with a lot of support. And
I know you've seen this in your classes as well, but when those concurrently enrolled students are motivated and they do have those skills, they're some of the best students that I've had in classes. I mean, it's just a great experience to have such a diverse student population in your classroom. Of, here at TCC could be someone's grandparent and also a concurrently enrolled high school student and everyone in between, and it just really adds to that mix that a lot of us enjoy.
Yes.
TCC for.
Yeah, I'm so proud of my last semester. I had 100% retention rate, which is just at a community college really unusual. And of those students, most of them passed with a C or better, and just, it's very rewarding.
Yeah.
to us about the state of concurrent enrollment in Oklahoma and how we compare to the national movement of concurrent enrollment, because there's a lot going on out there. You pick up the literature for higher ed through American Association of Community Colleges or Inside Higher Ed or the Chronicle, and you pick up those weekly and monthly publications that we get, and there's a lot of talk about concurrent enrollment. So talk to us about what it's like here in Oklahoma and how we compare nationally to the movement.
Okay.
Why don't you go first?
State and national, kind of a two-part thing.
Yeah.
So on the national side, I would say concurrent enrollment is actually gaining ground. In March of 2016, the president passed Every Student Succeeds, which is the National Education Act, Federal Education Act. And for the first time, dual credit, concurrent enrollment, and early college were actually defined in statute, which is really going to help us in our work because now we can all, agree on the terminology, and that's a really important place to start, and it's never been done before. TCC, as you know, is a member of NASEP, which is the National Association of Concurrent Enrollment Partnerships, and we're very active in NASEP. The executive director came to Oklahoma last fall and participated in our statewide convening, which was a time when we brought external stakeholders, colleges, and high school districts all together to look at what is going on in Oklahoma with concurrent enrollment. Mary and I have both been to NASEP conferences. I'm on their national committee. We're actually getting ready for the conference coming up this fall in Kentucky, and just getting ready for the breakout sessions and everything. Mary's been to one of the conferences.
Yeah, I went in 2014. I was fortunate to go to the conference in Chicago, and it is just a great way to keep in touch with what the national trends are in concurrent enrollment. I'm so proud of our concurrent enrollment program, but there are states who've been doing this for a long time, and we can really learn from those people who are ahead of us a little bit in the concurrent enrollment game. So I learned so much at that conference, and really feel like it's so important for TCC to continue participating in that discussion at the national level.
Yeah.
Just a quick follow-up. What is early college?
Early college is another type of program of concurrent enrollment. It would, in the state of Oklahoma, like I said, we start concurrent students this summer after their sophomore year. There are many, many states that actually start concurrent enrollment earlier than we do, and a student can actually complete an associate's degree by the time they graduate high school. We have that happen every once in a while. It's very rare here, but we actually had one in the spring. I had a student in South Tulsa County graduate with an associate's degree at the same time that they graduated from high school. But that's not the norm here. In other states, that's the norm, and they call it early college.
Okay.
A few years ago, the college began working on a pilot program that we called Accelerate that helped gather data for the state regents because there was, I think, a recognition that we had some catch-up work to do with a lot of other states. How did that pilot project inform our current program of concurrent enrollment? What did we learn from that?
Oh, yeah, we learned a lot from that. One of the things that I just mentioned, the conference, the NASEP conference, and right now our policy in the state of Oklahoma is that anybody teaching a college class has to be a college instructor, and that's not the model nationwide. The high school teacher oftentimes is the one delivering the college curriculum. So we ask for an exemption from that policy so that we could have high school faculty teach some of our courses. And we quickly learned that the high schools really can't part with their instructors who are teaching sometimes 30, 35 students in a class. Our classes are capped at 20 and 25. So we didn't get a chance to try out that model with the high school teacher teaching the course. We did have two faculty members who were part-time teachers at TCC as well, part-time faculty, and who were high school teachers during the day, so they taught for a couple of semesters for us. The other challenge we learned about is that our accrediting bodies require that people teaching college courses have at least 18 graduate hours in the discipline. And most people who go get their teaching certification get a teaching certification. They don't necessarily go on for the master's. so that we kind of learned that that's something we've got to continue to work on if we want to model our program with along the lines of what others do. But I would say that the best takeaway was that we really could deliver a college level curriculum in the high schools, that with the faculty support, we have full-time faculty who serve as liaisons for those teaching in the high schools. Lissa does just an excellent job of communicating with the high schools to make sure they know that, we don't want people coming in with passes, or we're not going to write passes, and we're not going to stop for announcements and the Pledge of Allegiance and all that. And nothing wrong with the Pledge of Allegiance, but we're going to conduct our class like a college class. And so, and we had students, our concurrent enrollment students, who took classes at the high school. Their GPAs were comparable to those who were taking them at the campus. So Lissa could talk. She analyzed that data from that pilot program extensively and wrote a brilliant report for the regents. So she could talk more specifically about lessons learned.
I think one of the best takeaways from Accelerate was the fact that by going to the high school sites, we were able to mitigate some of the barriers that we knew that students were having about attending college early. Transportation was one of the largest. We dramatically increased our first generation and our underserved populations with early college classes and that experience. And the other thing I think would be on the district side, we actually were able to create a college-going culture within a high school. And that was, we have 1 million stories of personal student stories from that. And that was really exciting. But we're hoping that will, even though the pilot has ended, that the regents will look at our data and that we'll be moving forward in the same way.
And I know that academic officers across the state are working on a recommendation, I believe, for the state regents. So
We've been
that's great.
over to the regents and presented to the Council on Instruction from our data, and all of our data was given to the regents based on student success. Everything we did, we took every exception and we based it on student success. How did that exception work for the high school students?
So, Mary, you've been teaching concurrent for some time, and now you're in this leadership role with concurrent. In the beginning, you had a lot of concerns. Yeah. And you've sort of turned a corner. A lot has changed to make it a better experience for, really a great experience for faculty from your perspective. And so we've done a lot. Talk to us about the faculty experience of teaching a concurrent class, where you see it now, and what makes teaching concurrent something attractive to a faculty member?
Well, I did bring one show and tell, or just an item to read. It's an email from a student, and I think it really illustrates what these students.
Share it.
So this is a student who had finished taking several TCC classes. She emailed me at the beginning of this year and said, "I will begin classes at the University of Tulsa this Monday. I wanted to inform you that taking Comp 1 and 2 has given me 6 credit hours. I know now, looking at a syllabus for one of my TU classes, that if it wasn't for taking Comp 1 and 2, I would have gone in completely blind and been overwhelmed and intimidated by the assignments. Overall, taking concurrent enrollment classes was the best thing I could ever do to get myself prepared for classes in college." And you know what?
That's
Yeah,
great.
Greg knows that you.
Hooray.
Yeah,
Yes.
anybody
Yeah.
who's taught and who hears something like that from a student. And I hear from students who've gone on to TCC and our honors program. They've communicated back to me how prepared they feel and how grateful they are for the opportunity. So it's when you see that the students can do the work and that the work is at the same level as it would be on a college campus, and they can rise to that challenge, it's just tremendously rewarding.
We just have a minute or so left of the show, but we want to ask you both the big question that we ask all of our guests, which is, speaking of coming out of high school, if you could go back in time and give some advice to your 18-year-old out of high school going to college self, what would that advice be? Lissa?
I would tell my 18-year-old self that it's just the beginning. To be a lifelong learner, that's the real key. You want to be a lifelong learner, so learn everything you can from everybody you can.
Mary, how about you?
I love that question because I was really fortunate. I would tell my 18-year-old self, good choice. You chose a small liberal arts college where you really got a great academic experience with a tremendous amount of support, which has always kind of informed what I want to do as a college professor. But I would say, along the lines of what Lissa says, don't be afraid to take those classes that are outside your comfort zone, because English is great. That's what I studied. That's what I took. As soon as I was finished with my requirements, that's all I wanted to take is English classes. And I remember an advisor recommending I take a geology class, and I was like, oh, my GPA. Well, so I would say no. I regret that now. I wish I knew more science. I wish I knew more math. I wish I had not worried about my GPA, which people don't really care about once you're out of college anyway. So,
Right.
Don't tell them the secret.
Well, that is great advice from both of you. So thank you both for being here today. That is all the time we have. But I do want to thank our guests, Professor Mary Cantrell and Lissa Steadley, for joining us on the show.
And thank you for being here too. Remember, you can find us every week online at The Grid, tulsacc.edu/thegrid, and on the Creativity channel. We'll see you next time.